Good evening and welcome to the special edition of The Verdict. As you already know, The Verdict is a governance program, and this time of the election it has been dedicated to the electoral process, and this episode is brought to you by the UPND Alliance. And today we have we'll be discussing critical issues in the electoral process, and my guest on the program is Mr. THABO KAWANA, the UPND Alliance Media Director. Your host, I'm Patrick Soko, and later on the program, you'll be joining us in case you want to ask our guest some questions that you think are pertinent. Welcome to the program, Mr. KAWANA, before we get into details.
Thank you very much. It is a pleasure to be here, as always.
Thank you. Now, we understand the political atmosphere is heated up, and I want to start our discussion from that point. Well, where we have seen a lot of social media reports, equally in the mainstream media, suggesting that your entourage was being blocked here and there. So I want to find out how has been the process, just a few more days to the electoral process in terms of campaigning as the alliance. Okay.
Before I answer your question, some housekeeping. I think your viewers can see that I have brought with me a DSTV remote. I bring this remote because your channel is on DSTV, channel 271. I don't know what channel on GoTV that is.
98.
Yeah, but on DSTV it's channel 271 and on GoTV 98. Now what is happening with our colleagues is that every time we are featuring on your program, in case you didn't know, the screens go blank. They bring an E16 message. Now, E16 message means that you haven't paid. So you get blocked and you stop watching. Now, what you do is that on the remote, there's this, first you start by putting your remote on ZNBC, on 275. Because when you watch ZNBC news, the whole time it is not disturbed. But when Cabinet News comes on, it gets disturbed. So I want to educate the viewers out there that what you do is that you press the ALT button here so that it takes you back to ZNBC. Then you press it again, ALT, it brings you back to Cabinet TV. That way you continue watching. Again, when it blacks out, you repeat the process. Just press ALT on the remote and it takes you to ZNBC. Again, press, it brings you back. In this same vein, I want to caution MultiChoice Zambia that it is very rude to show viewers an E16 channel as though they haven't paid, when in fact they have paid and are entitled to viewership. We don't know if it is a technical glitch, but we have noticed that this has gone on for the last 3 going into 4 weeks that this is happening. And MultiChoice will do well to explain to the viewers what is happening, that every time it is news time on Cabinet TV or we are featuring on Cabinet TV, the screen goes blank and gives an E16 message. So those that don't know what to do in terms of what I've just explained, they stop watching. Or they just go to other channels without knowing.
And when we're explaining the channel, it's actually 274 years.
Yeah, 274 years, 274. Now, those that don't know will just go away without watching their program because MultiChoice has told them that E16 you haven't paid. So MultiChoice has to explain what is going on. If MultiChoice is working in cahoots with enemies of democracy, it is a very sad thing. We will petition you, you see, like that, like that. So it keeps going blank and back, blank and back. So we hope that it works. Coming to your question, the campaigns, we have been blocked. Yes, we have been blocked physically from doing campaigns every now and then. But the message has not been blocked. What these enemies of democracy are failing to understand is that the message of the UPND Alliance has been consistent over the years, and it has reached what you call acceptable levels. It is a message where the Zambian electorate has secured what you refer to as a buy-in, meaning the Zambian electorate has come to terms that the message that is being propelled and propagated by the UPND Alliance is the correct message of economic emancipation, of free education, of good governance, of the rule of law. And the people of Zambia know that they are tired of the savages, the cadreism, the lawlessness, and the corruption. And now it is time for change. And that is why they are voting on Thursday, and they are ushering a new government, the new government of the United Party for National Development, UPND Alliance, the government to be led by President Hakainde Hichilema, the incoming 7th Republican President of the Republic.
But Mr. Kawana, have you done enough groundwork to even secure that victory, considering the fact that you are being blocked?
I've just explained to you that the blocking is now anti-physical, but the message has already gone. The decision has already been made. The decision is not being made between today and Thursday. The decision was made a long time ago that the Zambian people chose for themselves a better life. The Zambian people chose for themselves a better deal. The Zambian people chose for themselves leadership, quality leadership, real leadership, which is being provided by the UPND Alliance.
A number of your members are being arrested here and there. Is it an indication that you are a violent and unruly political party?
We are not being arrested because we are violent. We are being arrested because we are campaigning. We have got violence being practiced against us by the PF, violence being, unfortunately so, being practiced against us by the Zambia police. The Zambia police are stopping us from campaigning. And when we appear in an area to engage the electorate, the Zambia police are blocking us and they are throwing tear gas canisters and arresting our leaders and members in the process, merely for campaigning. It is not the first time that Zambia is holding elections. It is not the first time that campaigns are happening. But it is the first time that we are seeing this as a very unprecedented episode of the police physically stopping the opposition political parties from campaigning and only allowing the PF to do the exact activities that they are stopping us from doing and arresting us from them. But they must understand that these things are not happening for the first time. We had a situation at one time where the police tried to interfere with the elections as they are doing now. But during that time, I remember very well, it was, I think, 1996, if I'm not mistaken, during President Chiluba's time. The Electoral Commission of Zambia chairperson was the late Justice Bobby Walia, may his soul rest in peace. And he directed the Inspector General of Police to stay away from elections, but maintain law and order, but not to interfere with the elections. Judge Walia put his foot down. And I have a whole lot of respect for Judge Chulu. And his silence in all that is going on is extremely loud, that he is quiet about it. I mean, there's nothing we have come to expect from CEO Nshindano, because CEO Nshindano has proved to be the worst CEO that the Electoral Commission of Zambia has ever employed. The man is undemocratic. The man is uncouth. The man is outrightly put incompetent. Look at all the failures of the ECZ in the run-up to these elections. You've got ballot papers missing at the Civic Center. You've got chartered...
Has that been substantiated, Mr. Kawan?
It's still being investigated. We are yet to hear from them. You've got a chartered aeroplane, chartered, bringing in merchandise for the ECZ with strange cargo on it. that is not reflecting on the manifest. All this is happening under the charge of Nshindano. You've got an ECZ that proclaims itself to investigate murder cases and also begins to suspend us from participating or in campaigns by suspending us, for example, in Kanyama, where it is alleged that because 2 people have died, it is the UPND that killed those people, when investigations are still going on. But Nshindano is quick to say it is the UPND and therefore suspends us. All these point to incompetence. And Nshindano is the worst CEO ever employed. So him, we don't mind. But a man of the stature of Judge Esau Chulu, a man we respect so much, a man we hold in high esteem, surely must check his electoral commission, that it must not go in the annals of history as the worst electoral commission of Zambia. He must allow that let his Nshindano, as an individual, as a CEO, that he may, or as it is going to go into the annals of his history as a worst CEO. That's an individual, that's his team. But Judge Chulu is the custodian of the Electoral Commission of Zambia as chairperson. He mustn't allow that institution to go down in the annals of history as the worst Electoral Commission of Zambia.
Can you elaborate further why you were intending to actually sue the Electoral Commission of Zambia, as we heard from your party, your alliance as the Secretary General, Mr. Batuke Imenda?
Well, there's been serious unfairness that has been apportioned to us, mostly instigated by the Electoral Commission of Zambia themselves, and in some cases instigated by the Patriotic Front. What happens usually is the Patriotic Front will pronounce themselves, and then the ECZ will implement that pronouncement. So, for example, the Patriotic Front will say, we need UPND Alliance suspended from participating in campaigns in Kanyama. And ECZ said, we shall investigate, and then 2 days later they come back and say, well, we have suspended the UPND. So it is almost a pattern that every time the PF says something, then the ECZ come back and show it. They went to file in with their candidate, President Edgar Lungu, and they had a huge crowd at the filing in ceremony where he unveiled Madam Kanduluo at Mulungushi. And they felt very good about it, that they had a huge crowd. When President Hakainde Hichilema went to file in, we did not transport, bus, coerce a single person to show up there. Lusaka showed up for HH. The place was jam-packed, the streets were jam-packed, because the people's choice was going to file in his nomination, and there was jubilation. That the PF could not hold. And what did we see? The president launching his campaigns and saying, I don't want to see what we saw the other day. Crowds of people. The next day, ECZ comes and says, we have banned crowds of people. We have banned rallies. That is after the PF held rallies before the official electoral campaign period and continue to hold rallies within the official electoral campaign periods. But they turn out and say, we have banned because they don't want us to hold rallies. Granted, we don't hold rallies. Then they say, if you want, you can do a roadshow, just pass. And we were just passing. But you know, Hakainde is the people's choice. So even his passing, the people came out in their numbers, in their residences, to just catch a glimpse. And none of those people was following the procession. What was happening is that every point he reached, every neighborhood he reached, the people came out from their homes in their numbers to catch a glimpse of their favorite leader, their son, Hakainde Hichilema. And every time that happened, again, it pained the PF. Why? Because for them, when they hold a roadshow, they have to bus people and force people to follow them to show crowds. We didn't bus anybody. We didn't force any person to follow us. The people came out in their numbers within their residences. It is also an indictment on PF that the road shows would take around 10 o'clock in the morning, would attract those huge crowds of people. That should tell the PF that those people are unemployed. Because people at 10 hours should be doing productive things. They must be working. But they don't work. There is no employment. And therefore, the people are looking to the UPND Alliance with hope. And that's why they came out in their numbers. Again, they felt bad about it. The next thing they say, we have banned including road shows. So you can see that.
But the COVID-19 was put in the picture.
Look, the issue of COVID is an issue that we all appreciate. But clearly, it is being used as an excuse. Because you cannot claim that we are spreading COVID when first we're in open air and we're not stagnant and we are moving and the people are not following. They are just coming out. When the vehicles pass, they go back in, and we get to the next neighborhood, they come out, the vehicles pass, they go back in. We are not spreading. But even that, they use it against us and say, no, you are spreading COVID, and therefore we can't allow. President Lungu goes out, does the same thing in the name of inspecting markets and distributing face masks. And we say, well, if you're allowing this to happen, we will also go and distribute face masks. They say, you can't do it. And the police spokesperson comes out and tells the nation, you can't do what the president is doing. Because what applies to the president does not apply to you. And what applies to you does not accrue to the president. The president is allowed to do these things. You are not. Granted. We will not argue about that. He is president. He's got special immunity. He's got special privileges. But the same happens when Kambwiri is out doing his roadshows and rallies, when Bizweo Mutale is out doing campaign shows and rallies, when Joe Malanji is out doing campaign shows and rallies. So then we beg the question, is these characters, the PF officials, the PF surrogates, are they the president also? Because you are allowing them to do that and stopping us. So we will not argue over the president, because we will not compare the president to ourselves. So we'll leave the president out. But the other PF officials, all these, Brian Mundubile, Kambwiri, Malanji, Bizweo Mutale, name them. They are going out in the name of distributing face masks, in the name of meeting, even meeting civil servants, congregating civil servants and meeting them. In what capacity? They are not government officials. The president can meet civil servants. But who are these PF officials? In what capacity are they congregating and meeting civil servants? All that is wrong. We've got, for the first time, an election where prisoners are allowed to vote. But have we been allowed access to the prisoners? No. You've got the prison commissioner, Dr. Chileshe.
But have you made attempt, Mr. Kawana?
Yes, we have made attempts and we are not allowed. Who even, if you remember in Monze, when the president was launching the houses and for the police and other uniformed personnel, and also I think he was groundbreaking the land that has been given to the Catholics to build a cathedral in Monze. Prisons Commissioner Dr. Chileshe stood up there in front of the president, in front of cameras, in front of the whole world, and said, I will not allow the opposition to campaign. Who is he? Who is he to state that he will not allow the opposition to campaign in the prison? But
if his word is being truth to his word, you are not campaigning in the
because we are not being allowed
facilities. But what are you going to do about it?
We are not being allowed. Look, whatever the PF are doing is and has backfired on them. So it is not something that we're going to come here and whine and complain about. We're laughing at them because everything they're doing is backfiring. The same prisoners are so eager to vote for change. They are ready. all the prisons in Zambia are red and ready. We've got messages from the prison. We've got assurance from the prisoners that our vote is the UPND Alliance vote. Therefore, we do not mind. All these things, the machinations they put in place, all these schemes, some of them can best be classified as evil schemes, are all backfiring on them. So why should we worry? The decision is made. The dice is cast. It's only Thursday that we are voting and we are winning these elections.
But how are you going to win when your popularity is being attributed to only Facebook, on social media?
The popularity is not affected at all. The people that you see on the streets may have faces because you see the faces, and most of them are red. Therefore, they have books. That doesn't make them Facebook people just because they've got faces and they have books. These are real people. Why do you think they're banning us left, right, and center? If we were a party only popular on Facebook, they wouldn't mind. They would have a field day. They would even say, go ahead and campaign because they know you have no popularity. Not now. It's no longer the same. The popularity is immense and the people are real. And you can see that these are actual people. You have President Mutati going on the Copper Belt, going in Northern Province, and people coming out in numbers to meet him. You have KBF going on radio, and people going to swarm the radio station just to catch a glimpse of him. You've got Vice President Mtalena Lumango going out there in Northern Province and other places, Eastern Province, for example. I was with her there. People coming out in numbers. That ain't Facebook. That's real. And our popularity remains unscratched. All they are doing is backfiring on them because even the people are seeing that they are being unfair to us, but the people have vowed to teach them a lesson they will never forget because from Thursday, the PF are going back in opposition and President Edgar Lungu will be leader of the opposition Patriotic Front.
Mr. Kawana, I want to also find out, because you also indicated that you are going to take legal action against the ECZ, and also you also indicated that today the chairperson legal, Mr. Mwimbu, also indicated they are going to take action against the public media for not giving equal coverage to the opposition. And for this, the PF's direction is that you are just being crybabies as the UPND because you don't have a message.
No, it's not that we are being crybabies. These are the realities on the ground. If you watch ZNBC, it is PF from start to the end. It is no longer ZNBC news. It is PF news. If they feature the opposition, it's in the negative. So much that they are the ones who are delusioned. At one point, they said that 2,000 members of parliament had defected from UPND to the PF. And you know that this country has 156 constituencies. And they had the audacity to read on the main news that 2,000 MPs have defected. Why? Because it's all propaganda. It's all... They lie to themselves. They say things which they believe themselves but are not real, and the people know that they're not real. But like I've said before, when you walk into a man's, or you walk on a man and you find the man self-pleasuring, you must close the door for the man, give him the privacy. You don't know why he's self-pleasuring. And that's what the PF are doing, self-pleasuring. Telling themselves that they are winning, telling themselves that they are popular.
But you're also doing the same.
In fact, they're not. We don't need to tell ourselves we are popular. We just go out there and the people show. But you saw what happened yesterday in Chingola, for example. They were holding a function and they were transporting people like bags of maize. Truckloads full of people, such that at the roundabout or the traffic cycle, if you want, as the truck was turning, the people tilted one side and fell onto the road, and they were injured. But the PF in Chingola refused to pay them because they agreed that every one of them should be paid 30 kwacha to go and appear at their function to show that they've got the numbers when in fact not. And when those people injured themselves, the PF refused to give them even the agreed 30 kwacha, telling them, well, you didn't make it to the destination, and the function went on, and it was poorly attended because there were no people, because you people were in an accident. How cruel can you be? And you think those people will wake up on Thursday and vote for the Patriotic Front? No, our popularity is real. Our agenda is real, and the people's agenda is real. The people's agenda is to change government, to give themselves a better leadership, a better quality lifestyle, and they have chosen to use us, graciously so, as a UPND Alliance, as a vehicle to run over the PF. We are not winning because we are special or macho in any way. We are winning because the people of Zambia have chosen us over the PF and said, we will give you an opportunity. Remember, the power lies with the people. It is never taken away. That is why nobody comes into power. We come into office of authority. The power remains with the people. That is why every 5 years you go before the people, you kneel before the people to either give you an opportunity to get a mandate to run state affairs, run office, or give you an opportunity to continue to run state affairs and the opportunity to govern. So the PF have gone back to the people to kneel before them to ask that the people give them an opportunity to continue in office. And the people have said, no, thank you, you can't continue. We can't continue with this lifestyle. And we have gone before the people and said, may you give us a chance. And the people of Zambia said, yes, we are giving you a chance because we love your programs, we love what you're espousing, we love what you stand for, and we love what you have stood for in the past. We love what you and your members of Alliance have achieved in the past, and we think you are the quality leadership that the country so deserves.
In case you are just joining us, you are watching The Verdict, and this program is brought to you by the UPND Alliance, and I'm hosting Mr. THABO KAWANA, the UPND Alliance Media Director. We are discussing critical issues in the electoral process, and we have already discussed pertinent issues, and we are going to unpack more, and you just have to stay tuned and follow the proceedings. To those of you following us on social media via our Facebook page, we would like to thank you for following the program. Now, I want to bring you to the issues that you have raised. You have raised a number of concerns. Okay, let's name it electoral injustices against the UPND Alliance. But does it mean if you lose, you are going to petition the election?
There is no losing. There is no losing. Not this time around. Look, somebody in the morning asked me on one of the blogs in Kitwe and said, what will you do if you lose? And I said to them, I have attended several weddings in my life, and I've never seen a couple on wedding day that is planning for divorce or imagining divorce. We did not get into this election with a view of losing or not winning the election, as you put it. We are winning this election. We've been called upon by the people of Zambia. We've been given an opportunity by the people of Zambia. And it's a given. We are winning. So your question does not arise. What you need to do is ask the PF what they are going to do now that they are in opposition from Thursday.
We have seen the issue of biometric coming forth in view of enhancing accountability and transparency according to the Electoral Commission of Zambia. What is your position on that?
All these are machinations trying to see loopholes that can be used to try and disadvantage us and advantage the PF. All these point to the incompetence of CEO Nshindano, that in the middle of the game, you want to introduce new rules. In the middle of the game, you want to introduce, you want to introduce things that were not there before. Biometrics requires that we have to test the system. We have to ensure that the system is working, that it is tight, it is not flawed. At what point do we do all this? At what point do we check against all these? So you can see that they are trying so hard because they are working in cahoots with the Patriotic Front to try and disadvantage the opposition and give advantage to the PF. But that too will not work. Whatever rules they are going to bring to the game, we are going to beat them at their own rules because the determination by the people of Zambia is unstoppable. The Electoral Commission of Zambia in an election is supposed to be a referee. But what this referee has done is worse than Diramba. It is like in a football match of two teams, the referee starts by giving the opponents 4 red cards, then begins to play alongside the other team, giving them undue advantage because instead of 11 men on the field, they have 12, including the referee, whilst 4 have been taken away. But it's all good. Even without the 4 players, we are going to score and we are going to win and we're going to beat them at their own game.
Your political party or the alliance in general has been accused of using the first distribution exercise, substituting it with political rallies and while at the same time floating COVID-19 guidelines. What's your take on that?
It is not that we have substituted it. We are concerned about the
We are seeing your
COVID
presidents
situation.
and everyone attracting huge gatherings.
We are concerned about the COVID situation. And what our presidential candidate, for example, is doing is to go out there and sensitize the people on the dangers of COVID and sensitize the people in line with the 5 golden rules of COVID prevention. One way of which is not only to wash your hands and keep them clean at all times and sanitize them, but also to wear your face masks. And he's distributing the face masks. Now, the people are coming out in their huge numbers. They're coming out because there's this insatiable appetite to have a glimpse at their leader, because he is the chosen one by the people. He is the one the people have cried for. He is the one the people have chosen. And therefore, we cannot be accused of turning them into rallies. It is the people that are coming out in their huge numbers because they want to catch a glimpse of their incoming 7th Republican president that is being voted in on Thursday.
Another issue, Mr. Kawana, you are being accused of conniving with foreign funders, to be certain, by the Patriotic Fund, to be specific, that you are making deals in exchange for public facilities. And in one of the tabloids in today, they are citing nitrogen chemicals as one of the public facilities you are putting forth in exchange for funding. What do you make of such sentiments?
Preposterous, to say the least. It's a laughable matter. It is not a matter anybody can take serious. Everybody knows that the PF, like I keep saying, the PF government, we don't want to be rude by saying to them that they tell lies. But we will tell you that the PF government doesn't tell the truth. So maybe they don't tell lies, but they never tell the truth. And all these are machinations because they can't believe what is going on. They know that we have a program for agriculture, what we refer to as our agriculture support program, within which FISIP is only but a small component that makes part of the agriculture support program. And in that, we will re-energize, revitalize, and recapitalize the nitrogen chemicals. And they know that the people of Kafue and the Zambians at large and the farming community are excited because they know that finally a government led by a farmer himself knows what to come and do with an institution like nitrogen chemicals, which they have neglected, they have underfunded. And even when they have given little funds and they have produced the fertilizer, the cadres have gone to collect the fertilizer from nitrogen chemicals and said, they will pay. But they collect and they sell the fertilizer and they never pay. We know that on record, we've got two particular cadres. One is from the east, one is from within Lusaka, that collected, the one from the east collected fertilizer worth 7 million kwacha and sold it in Zimbabwe and hasn't paid a kobo to Nitrogen Chemicals of Zambia. The other one from Lusaka collected fertilizer worth 5 million kwacha and supplied it to the Congo, and that person has not paid NCZ the money. So they are the ones that are killing NCZ. It is bleeding because it is being ransacked by their cadres, and therefore even the people at Nitrogen Chemicals know that there's no hope for them under this regime. And since they now know that the people of Zambia and the farmers at large are excited with the coming of the UPND alliance government after Thursday, they want to try and tell lies that we are coming to sell or we are coming to destroy. There's nothing to destroy at NCZ because they have destroyed it. There's only room for rebuilding and improvement, which we are coming to do. We are coming to rebuild, we are coming to improve it.
And Mr. Kawana, what do you make of the parading, or let me say, we've seen union leaders for universities endorsing the PF. Does it mean that the students' movements are rather happy with the PF in as far as delivering in the education sector is concerned? And would you by any chance feel you have lost out on the support from the students' movements?
Not at all.
Why do you say so?
Not at all. Number one, we go back to the element of self-pleasuring. You take a few students, leaders, pay them money, and they make statements, and they say, we are behind you. The students are very upset with the PF. This is a government that is failing to pay the student loans. This is a government that took away the meal allowance for the students. Today, it is so hard for the students to concentrate in school because the meal allowance has been taken away from them. And so they have to think of studying, and they have to think of what to feed and where to find the money. And this has reduced especially our girl children into, I don't want to use the word with a P, but they've become abused. And mainly by these same PF cadres and PF sugar daddies that are abusing them because our children don't have money. We can't afford to give them money the whole month to feed because we have other children to feed. And that's why government was giving a meal allowance. But that has been taken away from them. And the students and the parents are very, very sad about it and very angry with the PF. And therefore, there's no way any normal student can give the Patriotic Front an iota of support, an iota of thought of goodwill. Everybody is looking forward to ensure that they are voted out so that the real government can come and we shall reinstate the meal allowance. Remember, we have said in our policy, we have said in our manifesto, we are giving free education from grade 1 to grade 12. When you get to tertiary level, college, university, you have to pay for yourself. But if you cannot afford to pay for yourself, you ask the government will give you a student's loan. We will pay for you. But when you finish, because you are going to finish your education under a sound leadership of a responsible government, it will not take long, maybe a month, maybe 2, but within 3 months, you'll be able to find employment, and we begin to deduct our money, begin to recover the money that we gave you as a student's loan so that it is given to others. So the students are excited about what is coming after Thursday.
Is the tribal card going to work in this election? Is it going to be a factor?
It is not a factor. It has failed to work. They have apportioned it to the lunatic, Chishimbakambwili, the lunatic, the convict, the criminal. He's going around talking about tribalism.
Why did you say the lunatic?
Well, look, I've said this before and I want to repeat myself. When we started here, you introduced yourself as Patrick Soko. And therefore, I'm obliged to call you Patrick or Mr. Soko. I can't call you Brian. I can't call you Mutafera. because that's what your name. That's what you said. You said you are Patrick Soko. Kambwiri went on television and told the whole country, suffices to say the whole world, that if I ever go back to PF, then I'm a lunatic. If you ever see me go back to PF, consider me a lunatic. He has gone back to PF. Who are we not to call the man what he has demanded of us to call him? He's a lunatic. I call him a convict because he has been taken before the courts of law, facing criminal charges surrounding corruption, tried before a competent court of law, and convicted and sent to prison. He's a convict. He's a criminal. And he is only out on appeal. So we must call each other what we are. So if I call Kambwiri a criminal, it is because he is a convicted criminal out on appeal. If I refer to Katele Kalumba as a criminal, he is a convict only out on appeal. You know that as former finance minister, Dr. Katele Kalumba was convicted by the magistrate court. He appealed to the High Court. The High Court upheld the conviction, and he then appealed to the Supreme Court, and we have been waiting patiently for many years now for that appeal to be heard in the Supreme Court. We wait. But till then, the man was convicted. So why would I call him a priest when he was convicted? Why would I call Kambwiri a clergyman when he's a convicted criminal, a self-confessed lunatic, and spewing tribal garbage and trying to divide the nation? And the nation has rejected that tribal talk. It has rejected all efforts and attempts to divide the people on tribal lines, and that is why his message, which is the message of the Patriotic Front, because he is the bearer of their message, has been rejected by the people. It is why they are voting for the UPND on Thursday, because they know that voting for the UPND is voting for unity in the country, because just in the UPND alliance itself, it has shown you that there is unity in there, as the members of the alliance are from all regions of the country that have congregated together in the UPND to form the UPND alliance. And the UPND itself, as a political party, held their elections and came up with their National Management Committee. Even that is an espousal of representation from all regions of the country. Therefore, tribalism can never be the talk and apportioned to the UPND or its alliance partners, because it has shown that we are working as one Zambia, one nation, with members, leaders from all regions of the country.
Now, I also want to find out your views on this. We've seen a number of opinion polls indicating that the PF will win the elections while you are trading. We have seen the latest one, you trading at 40%. What do you make of these opinion polls?
We close the door. You close the door on a self-pleasuring man. Give him privacy. PF is self-pleasuring. We close the door on them. There's nothing they're telling us. There's nothing they're telling you. Nobody's buying this. The opinion poll which has come out today is by the same characters that did the first one. And today they've come back with the second one and said the PF is leading, blah, 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 blah. The characters that are doing this opinion are former workmates and classmates of the current political advisor to the president, Chris Zuma Nzimba. So Chris Zuma Nzimba brings in his friends who say your boss will win, and the country should listen to that? No way. They'll win from where? The people of Zambia know that in every province, every district, every constituency, every ward, every section, every home in Zambia you go to, the presence of the UPND Alliance is there, and the people have expressed confidence in voting for the UPND, and they ask themselves, oh, really? So these guys are saying PF will win? Did they ask you? Because they didn't ask me. And everyone's saying, no, they didn't ask me either. So people know that all these are fake opinion polls made to try and hoodwink the people, to try and psych them into believing that the PF is headed for victory when they are headed for a disastrous loss. So let them self-pleasure, but it will not happen. Even in 2011, there were opinion polls all over that showed that President Rupia Banda was going to win the elections. We saw what happened. Even during President Chiluba, there were opinion polls all over that indicated that the people of Zambia wanted President Chiluba to go for a third term. But you also, when the people came together under the auspices of the Oasis Forum and fought against the third term. Zambians do not vote for a president 3 times. It has never happened. It will never happen. They voted for President Lungu in 2015. They voted for him in 2016. They will not vote for him for the 3rd time come 2021 or come Thursday.
Mr. Kawana, have been, we in the media have been requested by various organizations, especially working on child issues, that we ask you as political parties participating in these elections, and especially those that are top contenders, being the UPND Alliance and the PF. We have an opportunity to host you as the UPND Alliance. The challenge that has come forth from the child rights activists is that they want to see commitment on the enactment of the Child Code Bill in the first session of the National Assembly. They have also put forth an issue to do with street kids. They have also put forth the issue of addressing the child justice system, which they say is not adequate at the moment. So I want to find out from you as the media director for the UPND Alliance, do you have any commitments towards children in the country?
We are very committed to the issues surrounding children, especially the girl child. We believe, and it is stated in our policy documents, that we are to create an environment that is safe for children, safe, keeping themselves from harm, keeping them safe from abuse, and an environment where they are given an opportunity to grow with their voices being heard. Especially the girl child is under our leadership. The girl child is considered to be given equal opportunities, equal access to health, to education, to the right to play and so on, so that the girl child has as much an opportunity as the boy child has. In as far as the justice system is concerned, we have the Juvenile Act, and children are tried under the Juvenile Act, but that is not enough. We are coming to ensure that the issues to do with juveniles are, fast-tracked, so that the courts that deal with children issues are fast-track issues. We are also coming to activate the Children's Rights Bill within the first session of Parliament. And within the first session of Parliament, we are also going to activate the Gender-Based Violence Bill that is going to ensure that the women, for example, are well protected and the children are well protected against gender-based violence, so that the courts deal with GBV as fast-track matters. We reform the Victim Support Unit to see how more friendly we can make it to curb gender-based violence, to be able to deal with matters surrounding children. We are going to make sure that the issues that surround children, especially, I repeat, especially the girl child, things to do with sanitary towels, for example, because they look simple, but an issue like sanitary towel can make a girl child begin or not go to school because of the time that she's attending her menses and no access to sanitary towels. We are coming to implement that program proper to ensure that the rural child has opportunities as good as the child in urban areas, and they will receive government support in as far as sanitation is concerned, in as far as clean environment is concerned, in as far as water is concerned, and so on. So the Zambian people should look forward that beyond Thursday, And your child rights activists must look forward that beyond Thursday, you are ushering in a government that cares, a government that is coming to take care of its children. Because if you do not care for the children, then you have lost the nation. Because it is the children that form the nation. The Bembas will tell you, imitikula empanga. And therefore our focus is on the children. That is why you find we have given free education. All that is aimed at ensuring that we don't have children on the streets. Every child must go to school. Every child must have an opportunity to go to school. That's why we're making education free from grade 1 to grade 12. All the children will be swept out of the streets, will be placed in schools, and those that are adults and will not probably do well in schools, they will be trained into skills. And after training them into skills, they will be given a starter pack. So that if, for example, you train as a carpenter, you train as a bricklayer, you are given tools with which to start. And you are also considered on government projects so that we are able, where government is building schools, is building hospitals and so on, the people that will do the plumbing work are people that have been trained under the system so that they are given a livelihood. This is a government that is coming to give the people what they so deserve. A quality leadership that they have never had and they don't have under the Patriotic Front government.
Another issue, Mr. Kawana, that comes to my mind is that we've also received concerns from the environmental sector. I understand in our previous discussion, we talked about various sectors of the economy. We talked about education, health, and other things, but we didn't talk about the environment. And the people want to appreciate, if at all, you have a concern for the environment, considering that Zambia is also signed Sustainable Development Goals, whose target is 2030. And it's just to, there are commitments on addressing environmental issues there. And the 7th NDP that is expiring is was also keen in addressing the environment. But environmental actors feel they haven't gotten much in terms of during, as you've been conducting your campaigns as political parties in addressing the environment. Maybe, are you able to provide for us your commitment to the environment, especially in the wake of climate change?
We are committed to the environment, and that is why we are going to ensure that all that is good in the 60th and 7th National Development Plan and has not been implemented is going to be carried on in the 8th National Development Plan that is going to be implemented by the UPND government. We are not going to be as careless, as rude, as greedy as this Patriotic Front government has been, where a water charging area such as Forest 27, they go and share the plots amongst themselves out of grid and build houses in a charging area. And now they are shocked that Lusaka is full of floods without realizing that that area, Forest 27, was left and designed as a natural habitat to be able to drain the waters as they come from the heavens. But they have built and blocked, and therefore now you have got floods that almost engulf State House, because this is a careless government with no clue. We are going to ensure that we sustain the environment by also ensuring that the natural resources we have as a country, Mukula, for example, is well taken care of. It is accounted for, it is harvested at the right time, it is sold in the right manner, not what we are seeing, where you say we have sold to China 23 million worth of Mukula, and China say we are grateful to Zambia for having received 600 million worth of Mukula. So you wonder the discrepancy, because our colleagues are crooks, they're thieves. Now we are coming to look after the environment, we are coming to sustain the environment, and therefore you can get back to your environment activists that they are going to experience a government that is not only able to act, but it is able to listen to them and dwell on their expertise and do what is right for the sustenance of the environment of the country. Because if you do not sustain the environment of the country, you lose it to climate change. As it is, climate change is already a problem, but if you exacerbate it by also doing human activities that make it worse, then you are in trouble. We are coming to do what is correct in collaboration with the environmental experts.
Well, dear viewers, you are watching The Verdict, and our guest is Mr. THABO KAWANA, the UPND Alliance Media Director. Just now, we'll take a short break. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Are you a small to medium enterprise looking to advertise your products and services within your community and across Zambia? In these economic times, we are here to help you grow your business. Advertise with us on Camnet Market. Camnet Market is offering lower rates for prime time advertising between 06 to 18 hours every day to give your business an edge under the new normal and beyond. For more details, contact us on the following numbers: 097 975 3010 or 096 296 5883, as well as 096 244 726. You can also reach us via email on info@camnettvafrica.com. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Camnet TV is here to entertain, educate and inform you. Catch Rise and Thrive at 0730 hours every Saturday. Fresh and new praise and worship comes Monday to Friday at 8 hours. Kids need to be glued to the TV every weekday at 09 hours for their favorite cartoons. Off the pitch with the boys as they talk about sport on Saturdays at 0930 hours.
Remember, we are also here to entertain you with our different varieties of movies every weekday at 10 hours. Join Pastor Victoria and Moses Chilua with Healing Word Ministries International Church live sermon every Sunday at 10 hours.
Katamanda brings to you another journey of gospel ministers on Saturdays at 10:30 hours. The Verdict comes to your screens at 17:45 hours. Join the Revival Harvest Church every Sunday at 18:30 hours.
Every Monday to Saturday, join us on the news desk at 12 hours as we bring to you the midday news, and at 19:30 hours Central African time every day for the main bulletin.
The ministry with Pastor Moses Chilua comes every Friday at 20:45 hours. On Mondays, it's your favorite national matters at 20:45 hours.
Wednesday and Thursday, Pastor Victoria and Moses Chilua are on Partnership of Greatness with different spiritual teachings at 20:45 hours.
And Frank on Camnet comes to your screen every Tuesday at 20:45 hours.
Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We are glad that you could still stay tuned to the program. Just a reminder, we are discussing critical issues in the electoral process, and my guest is Mr. THABO KAWANA, the UPND Alliance Media Director. And we have already been unpacking a number of critical issues. Those of you who haven't been able to follow, you can still catch what we've discussed on our Facebook page. But we proceed with our discussion, Mr. KAWANA. You were responding to the issues to do with the environment. And I'm going to also remind you to say, there's nothing probably you need to work on in the energy sector because there is no load shedding. And do you have any plans, unique plans for the energy sector as the UPND Alliance?
Well, in the energy sector, you know that it is not just electricity, but it is also to do with fuel and so on. We have to make energy affordable, and that's what we are coming to do. We are coming to make energy affordable for our people so that we give them affordable fuel, for example. Why do I say affordable fuel? The pump price, as it were, is not a reflection of what the Zambian people should pay. The procurement of fuel has been engulfed by middlemen. Now, when middlemen engulf the procurement, they make the process of procurement longer, and the longer it is, the more expensive it becomes, and all these in-between costs that middlemen put are borne by the end user at the end of the day. We are coming to cut out the middleman. So from Thursday, as President Hakainde is voted into office, and we take the realms of authority for the country, we'll ensure that all these middlemen in the procurement of fuel are cut out. We make the procurement process shorter and therefore cheaper, and the Zambian people will be able to buy fuel at the price that is reality and expected, and not an exorbitant price that falls on almost abuse because the middlemen have put in their cut, and therefore that cut is also eventually made to be consumed by the end user who pays for it at the pump price.
And I also want to get your commitment. There is a perception that in the country, the only sport that gets prominence is football, to be specific. Is the UPND, what is the UPND Alliance manifesto speaking to sports development in general and not soccer?
The Alliance position on sport is, as you have put it, it's all-encompassing. It's about all sports, all spheres of the sports, all faculties of sports, swimming, tennis, football itself, and many other disciplines of sport will all be looked at. We will have a ministry of sport that is looking at sports in general, and not as the current situation is, where the ministry is seemingly a ministry of football. That is why the nation is depressed, because we have not been doing well in as far as football is concerned. And when you are only dependent on one sports discipline and you fail in that particular sport, you find the country is depressed. But if we nurture talent in many other faculties of sport, in many other spheres of the sport, you will find that we'll have a lot more joy to talk about. Right now we have Olympics going on. We would have had our swimmers there. We would have had our runners there. We would have had different disciplines of sports taking place in the Olympics. But because we have concentrated on football, and talent is not only in football, we will allow for tapping of talent in different disciplines of sports. Therefore, under the UPND Alliance government coming in from Thursday, we are going to ensure that the Ministry of Sport is indeed a ministry that looks at all sports in Zambia.
Mr. Kawana, alcohol abuse, substance abuse, as well as gambling is becoming an order of the day in this community, especially amongst young people as young as 8-year-old. I want to find out if at all you have a commitment on that, because as far as concerned, it is growing at a faster rate, and if not addressed, it may be another issue that may affect the country's developmental prospects.
It has already affected the country in that we have a lot of young people that are basically gamblers, because with all these betting facilities on football, on this, you are basically initiating the children into a world of gambling, and they are growing knowing that gambling is part of life, which is not correct. So we have a lot of children that are ending up in all these places that our colleagues from China have come to open all over Zambia. That will be looked into so that we do not have a situation where our compounds are littered with these betting machines that is making young people want to bet. And every time they want to go and bet and they can't access money from their parents. So what do? They begin to steal little things in the house and sell them to find little money to go and do betting. That is gambling. It shouldn't be allowed that young children must be inculcated into a spirit of gambling. Gambling is also demonic. It's associated with demonic forces, and therefore we mustn't allow this. So the UPND government that is coming in after Thursday is going to look into the issue of all these machines dotted around our compounds that are encouraging young children to go and play, even when the law is very clear that the gambling is for 21 years and above. But you find that they allow young people to go into these places to go and bet. They also, you have full-time casinos that are allowing underage children to go and play in the casinos when they're not supposed to. We are coming to stiffen the law. We are coming to implement the law, as it were, so that we are able to save our children. That is why very key is that we are allowing the children to go back to school for free, so that there is no excuse why children should be allowed to remain roaming around because their parents can't afford an education. We're giving them an education for free so that every parent is compelled to ensure that his or her children are in school and not finding themselves taking part in what you'd call as illicit activities. And these things are intertwined. When you do gambling, the next thing you know is the young people are abusing drugs, they're abusing alcohol, and people that abuse drugs and alcohol are also susceptible to violent activities. So sometimes you begin to see this spirit of violence growing in the nation. It is exacerbated by activities such as these, where young people are consuming alcohol, young people are abusing drugs, and therefore are intoxicated half the time, are angry half the time, are violent half the time, and they are not in school and into these betting places half the time. All this is coming to an end as the UPND government, which is coming in on Thursday, is coming to look into this matter and ensure that it is addressed.
Mr. Kawana, as we wind up our discussion, are you going to accept defeat? I know I'd asked you about the petition, but are you going to accept defeat, and why should the people vote for the UPND alliance?
Well, uko kumva. Patrick, akuti asoko, uko kumva. Defeat kwa wani? Who's defeating who? I told you, ask our colleagues how they will deal with themselves as an opposition political party. We are not being defeated. We have won these elections. Basically, what we are doing now is preparing ourselves how we'll move after Thursday, maybe give or take Sunday or Monday, President Hakainde will be sworn in, and we move on. And we are looking at how we are going to run the country. Right now, our minds are focused on how we are going to run the country. That idea of loss is not there because the people of Zambia have decided, and we are beneficiaries of the decision by the people of Zambia. So that one, forget, there is no loss. Why should the people vote for us? It is because the people want a good life for themselves. The people want affordability for themselves. The people are looking forward to a better life so that they're able to have 3 meals per day, so that they're dignified again, so that they have that Ubuntu given back to them. Because right now, they are undignified because they can't afford to eat. They couldn't afford 3 meals. They came to 2 meals. They came to 1 meal a day. And now it's by meals. You eat on Monday. You don't eat on Tuesday. You come and eat on Wednesday because food is so expensive. Everything is expensive. Today we are being told the dollar has appreciated. It has jumped from 22 to 18. When you have got a jump in the dollar from 18 to 19, the first thing you see is the fuel price going up because the dollar has gone up. It should follow, therefore, that when the dollar has come down, even fuel must come down. Now, it triggers an effect because if the fuel has come down, it means that even commodities and foodstuffs and prices need to start coming down. None of these are reacting because every businessman with his or her salt knows that this is just campaign. The appreciation of the kwacha is not real, and they are waiting for the UPND government to come and implement a real appreciation of the kwacha, because this one is fake, and that is why all the commodities starting from fuel have remained stagnant. They don't move. Food is still expensive, everything is still expensive, despite the kwacha gaining against the dollar. In conclusion, this is a Christian television station. And I want to take this opportunity to talk to the people of Zambia that on Thursday we are going to vote, and we are voting in the UPND government, and we are winning. The ones that are winning are the people, and therefore it is expected that the people will celebrate the win. But I want to urge you, let us celebrate the win differently this time around. The last time there was a win by our colleagues, there were wild celebrations. There were people undressing. There were people even having things in public on the streets. There were sporadic violent attacks on MMD and so on. That kind, even in the Bible it is clear. There's a way you worship the Lord. And the Lord is the God of order. He's not a God of chaos. That chaotic celebration was not pleasing to God. And that is why you wonder that when my president, President Lungu, was given an opportunity to release the dove, because to show that God is with your leadership, you release the dove, and the doves fly away, because even in Noah's time, the dove was a sign that there's peace and that God is with you. So even when my president released the doves could not fly. They went down. They were picked again. They were given to my president. He threw them. They went down. They refused to fly. I don't want to say that that is a sign by God that he was not with him. So we leave that to the pastors to interpret. But this time around, let us celebrate responsibly by giving praise to the Lord for our nation and ensure that we do not carry out wild celebration. You will see that from the way we shall celebrate, when Hakainde is being sworn in, all he will do is open his palms and the doors will fly away. Because God, no, let me finish. Because God is with us, and the people would have spoken. The Greeks will tell you that vox populi, vox Dei. It means that the voice of the people is the voice of God. And the people have chosen the UPND Alliance. Therefore, God has chosen the UPND Alliance.
Thank you for coming, Mr. Tawana. Mr. Kawana, rather. Well, our dear viewers, have come to the end of this episode of The Verdict. We've been discussing critical issues in the electoral process. I've been talking to Mr. THABO Kawana, the UPND Alliance Media Director. Until next week, as we come with another episode of The Verdict, this has been Patrick Soko. Stay tuned to KAWANA TV. Remember, KAWANA TV is not just another channel.